years and years of, selfless service, seva, and community building, and giving out and supporting other people's dreams and passions, is to constantly make sure that I'm honoring myself first, that I'm filling my own cup, that I'm in devotion to my life. Because how can we show up for anyone else until we show up for ourselves? And aren't you worthy of showing up for? And I know that sometimes as a giver and someone who sees the world in a great deal of need, calling for help, my instinct is just to start giving. Like, yes, how can I help? How can I help? And I realize that intention, while good, actually isn't serving anyone. Because if I burn out, and I'm not capable and I'm not supported and sustained, then how can I show up for everyone else? Put your own oxygen mask on first. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Breathe into that. And from that place, now how can I help you? And I think we have this tendency to give out before we give in and block ourselves from being aren't you the first one who's worthy of supporting and being in service to? And I think we have this thing that's selfish. And I think maybe if it's done from a place of greedy, just taking energy, perhaps it can be. Again, I have a 9-year-old, so I can say it's a child just needs to get their needs met. And so they just take what they need because they're learning that and there's other people in the world. So it's just this fine line between, not feeling shame for needing to get your needs met and inviting that to be conscious. How do we impact other people as we're looking to get those needs met, right? So take care of yourself first and trust that as being the deepest level of devotion you could give to anyone else is to be caring for yourself. And then from that, you become this fountain that has so much more to give, so much more to show up for in your purpose. And then I always like to start with okay, here's the I, and we build concentric rings of engagement. I'm just going to be honest. My purpose in the world is global integration and unity, pathways of consciousness, and new organizational systems design, new governance systems for how we are our own divine sovereign authority, cooperatively working together to find solutions to ensuring that all humans on this planet have the same basic needs met. Everybody. And often I want to go run over to other countries and other places and just get in there and help find solutions. And the wisdom came to me that I need to start right here. And first and foremost, I need to align myself, be strong, be prepared, take care of myself, be conscious of every movement, every step. How do I use my water resources? How am I aligned in my community, in my relationships? That's the only way to global peace. Global peace is not going to come because legions and legions of people go and take care of situations. That's a really beautiful vision that I had at one time that I now realize isn't the pathway. The pathway is here first. The Chinese have a proverb, if everyone swept in front of their own door, the whole world would be clean. The best thing I can do to empower someone else is to empower myself and to make choices that reflect that empowerment and walk through the world with impeccability of every choice has rippling impacts. So how am I choosing my steps and what does that affect? And then connecting with other like-minded beings, my brothers and sisters, the most amazing people in the world that I have met on this path that are literally my brothers and sisters, that I would literally give my life to. Not for, I keep that, but my life to, I would devote. We're in devotion as brothers and sisters. And the best thing we can do is support each other on our path of leadership as we're activating, what am I here to do in the world? It doesn't even matter how, is it global unity or is it I'm here to, right here in front of me. It's what are you here to do in the world? What are you passionate about? What gives you hope and strength? What makes your heart sing? What do you shine over? Be that. Do that with no judgment of is this important enough or valuable or is it okay that I want that? When you tap into your heart, this is what I'm here to do and be in the planet. And I would love to be a permissionary of being go for it. And we do that for each other in my community. Like when I feel empowered, then I'm not holding back, and I come to my brothers and sisters and I'm like, what do you love? What do you want to do? What do you want to build? They're like, I want to do this. I'm like, oh good, let's do that. You know, and it's like, these things, sometimes these ideologies, we get really spun out. I'm like, yes, the vision, the cheerleader, let's do it. And that's great. Like, let's be excited again. Let's be excited again and inspired again, because really that's going to be the juice that sustains you when life goes, cool, you want to do that. Here's what you need to do to show up for that. Here's all the things that are going to be required to really see that through. And so my friends have become literally the lifeblood on those moments where I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And they're like singing my heart song back to me, right? They're like, remember when you were excited 2 days ago and you wanted to do this? Like, you can do this. And so like, find the people in your life that like can hear your heart song, share it with them. Tell someone that you trust, this is my heart song, this is what I'm here to do and be and give. Hold me in that when I forget, right? And sing each other's heart songs back and forth, and be a community first and foremost here, and then just right here. Because from there, when you've done that, like when you've linked arms with some people around you that you feel solid in, you start to not feel so alone, you start to feel more like, okay, I'm encouraged, and you know, there's like something to show up for and someone to like hold you accountable. Like true friendship, they will hold you accountable. Hey, this is your heart song, and here's where that's not in alignment. I'm gonna hold you in love, accountable to each other. That's what community really is. It's not just the like, let's celebrate. When we celebrate, we are celebrating because we have shown up to do the work of what it takes to really be a community, to really love each other and really honor that we are in this together. So show up to do the work with each other, and that can be really edgy, and yet that is first and foremost. If you can just do that in your life, then like really you've done all that you need to do. You know, and if that doesn't exactly satiate it, you've done that and you're living that life and you're like, okay, like I'm walking my purpose and my path and I am supported and making impacts where I can with every single step and every single choice. If you find yourself being excited by, you know, the next concentric ring, you know, that's when you start to engage outside of your own parameter and start to lean into other pools of consciousness, of other communities. And this is where, again, tribal convergence intersects. That I had been doing that for a long time in my own community. And then, you know, festival culture inspired, like, there's so many other people out here. What medicine do we have for each other? And only when you feel thriving and supported in your own community do you have the energy to actually go out and connect with other people that you like. What about you? Like, how can I now show up in service? And I invite that to even be, you know, a community like where you live. Because I'll tell you, that whole like dream I have of like where my path is leading me is like, you know, global pathways. That doesn't exist if it doesn't happen where you live. If it doesn't happen in your own backyard. So when I say like you have support and you have friends and you feel inspired and empowered, you know, I encourage us to take this light and this juice that we have by these friends that we've connected to, where we feel inspired and we feel, you know, held authentically, and take that into your local community, the people who really need it. That's one of the biggest impacts you can have. You know, like sometimes I, you know, with love, preaching to the choir, like I know that even if you're still, whatever you're at on your trajectory and path, like there's something we share just because we're here alone. That enough, we share. And I'm excited to keep inspiring where we share that with every single human on the planet. And so just because maybe they're not in this bubble with us, I inspire myself every day. How can I step out of that, and how can I support other people who maybe I don't speak their same language, or we don't dress the same, or, you know, that's intimidating, or, you know, like this is the place when you feel supported by your friends and you're aligned with yourself. It gives you the courage to start engaging and helping other people around you. You know, and that's really the only way we'll ever get to this dream and vision that I think a lot of us carry of how else could we live on the planet I would love authentically, I don't want to project my story on you. Can I see hands? How many of you feel like right now on our planet we have achieved everything we are here to achieve, and it's balanced and it's thriving, you know, and this is feeling good? Is there anyone who feels really great right now about our planet? So good, I'm not projecting a story, that inherently there's a cry and a call right now that asks those of us who do feel inspired and do feel passionate and feel supported and loved and feel free and expressed. There's a call and a cry for us to keep showing up as ambassadors and emissaries of what we experience here and bring that out into the world. Because, you know, we all impact each other. So for me, I'm like, this is beautiful, we can do that here. And what's happening in other places? And is it like really fulfilling me to know this is happening here? How can this happen for all of us? And it not has to be everybody's global path. In mine, what I'm learning is, it's not about, we can't go out and save the world. There's an apathy that comes from like, how do we even begin to like fix what's going on like in Africa? I don't even know, like how do you even really help anybody? And so that, I think, is a sickness, a dis-ease on the planet, that because we're so overwhelmed, we hear that grief cry, we just sort of stop doing anything at all. And my great encouragement is, know that you inherently have a value and a worth because you show up in a good way. And trust that when we all show up in a good way, whatever your purpose is and your passion is going to create more benefit on the planet. Know that you are so worthy, and whatever your particular ingredient is, no one else brings that. And if you don't show up in that particular ingredient, like this is what I'm here to bring, that's just this unique reflection of the divine that we're connected to. This is what I'm here to bring. And that particular key or note in the symphony, that piece of the puzzle, that's yours. And if you don't show up with it, who's going to? And how do you know that's not a really crucial piece and an important part of the puzzle? And so sometimes we hold ourselves back because we're like, we talk about like, well, these great global issues, how can this thing that I do, how can that even help? It does, because as you see, we're just creating resonant rings. I mean, this is happening, my friends. This is happening. And we are all feeling the ignition of like, festival culture is a reflection of what's possible, of building new pathways. And it's only built if we take it into our body and walk with it in the world and touch where we can touch and make the points of impact where we can, where we feel inspired. You know, so like, my encouragement of us today is to like, practice coming into your own self-love enough and finding the support of the people who love you. That when you walk in the world and you do find that moment where that's like your moment to connect with someone else and inspire that in them, you feel it in your being. You feel it like that power that you're carrying, that empowerment that you're feeling for your own self first. It actually does make an impact. It touches many ripples. So, yeah, like believe in that self-worth. Yeah. I would love to do really quick before we go. I could talk all day. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I really want to bring this now into our bodies. The purpose of this wasn't just for me to speak about what I'm learning, but this was to inspire, not just inspire your own inner knowing. Like, you know this. I think that everybody knows everything I'm saying, and I'm just here to just love you so much unconditionally, even though we haven't even met, and tell you, like, I believe in you. And even if you're still working on whether you believe in yourself, like, I believe in you. And it's my favorite thing to just say that to people and watch as that, like, touches a place. And so it doesn't really matter if I say it if you don't believe it too. But it helps. So what I want to work with you on for the rest of our time here is a couple of practices to just bring this information into your own body, to remember that you are your own divine sovereign authority. For those of you who joined us late, this is a key I'm going to drop again before we go into the embodiment practice. I am my own divine sovereign authority. Let's go ahead and say it one more time so your body remembers it. I am my own divine sovereign authority. I am the only one in charge of my life. There is nothing outside of myself that I give my power away to as an authority. I know what's best for me. I know my heart. I know my purpose. And I'm empowered to make choices every day that allow me to walk that purpose. And I support myself with practices and people to remind me when I forget or I wobble that, like, I am my own divine sovereign authority. And before we do the embodiment, I just want to say this, it feels really important. We're on a precipice. And again, wherever you're at in your spectrum of any of the words that I'm saying and where they hit you, I think that if you really feel into your belly, you can feel like we are on a precipice. There is something shifting. We don't even have to define what that is right now, just evolution. To think that we went through how many billions of years of evolution and somehow we stopped with the human as it was, everything's perfected, there's the earth, okay, we're done, right? We are evolving. And what that looks like or feels like is still a mystery to us, so we're in the process of evolving. And in that evolution, I inspire you that a lot's shifting. So don't look outside of yourself to find the solutions. Don't look to someone else to find those solutions. Like, the only way this shift is going to become a shift in the direction of our dreams, of your dream and your passion, of your purpose, of what you know to be possible. Like the belief that, like, humanity inherently, like, look around you, humanity is one of the, like, juiciest species. We are mighty. Especially when we align that with the balance of being stewards of our earth and stewards of the other beings. Our mightiness is not inherent that says, like, I'm better than. It's simply we are mighty. And so is everything else. So we become the stewards because we have consciousness of that. So my just invitation, without getting too much into a rhetoric, is just be a part of the change you wish to see in the world. It takes every single one of us who has a spark and a flame of that guardianship and that possibility and that potential and that inspiration and that art and that creation. It literally takes every single one of us moving in the direction of what's possible in order for anything to shift in the direction that we all like to see it go. And there are a lot of people on this planet right now who are waking up and remembering that inherent power and empowerment within us. So I invite you to be one of them today and every day. Be one of the people being like, this is my life. Last key, I know I said that. Last key is a really, really important one for what I just said, and that is a shift from the warrior to the guardian. We're still holding warrior, like the fight against. I love Occupy. Occupy inspired me so much to watch millions of people instantly rally and unify around a theme and a concept in the streets. It literally shifted a course for me, because what it inspired me to do was say, how can we take millions of people and instead of what we are against, what we're fighting against, a system, we're fighting against something that we don't like, the warrior that's fighting something outside of ourselves, an enemy, a something to make change in the world. The guardian is a steward for. The guardian shows up and says, I stand for this. This is what I'm here for. I want to see millions of people in the street rallying around our solutions. What am I here for? What am I inspired by? What am I making a change with this, taking a stand? And it's that stewardship. Not against, but for. So that's a big key to start noticing in your life when you feel like you have to defend anything. An embodied leader arrives to the place of, because I have practiced this self-love and these practices, because I have connected to my community and people who support me, because I have made actions every day to walk in the world on the direction I'm heading, I'm gonna stand in this place of being a guardian, that nothing outside of me, my own divine sovereign authority, nothing outside of me has power. So there's nothing I need to fight. I just need to stand and put my hands in the dirt, put my voice out, my writing, my arms to hug and hold, whatever that is that you're in guardianship of. That's a big shift that if a lot of us made, would shift the way that we feel inspired and empowered to show up and take action from that place of like, this is how much I love what I love. That is a revolution. That's a social change that I'm looking forward to each one of you being in the street with me for the greatest global dance party that ever existed, while we celebrate our inherent power and our divine sovereign authority with our friends who've been on this path with us, keeping us on track. And we're just like, I stand up for justice and peace. I stand up for healthy food and soil and seed. I stand up for clean water. And I dance in the street to celebrate. And I've got the pathways and the action to make those things happen. I'm not looking for my government to solve it. I'm solving it with my friends, with my community, every day in my own life, one step at a time. That's revolution. So it's funny, because again, the topic of the workshop, embodiment, before we go, I really want to leave you with what that does to me is create a lot of energy. So I want to check in with you about your neurology, right? And invite that place for a moment of just anchoring in with some tapping, either your solar plexus or your heart. Go ahead and tap these areas. And remember those breaths that we began with, the really deep ones. Letting out anything that no longer serves you. Really letting it out. Go ahead and tap any area, like your throat. If you want to speak more clearly in the world. If you want to think, you want to bring your mind back into balance. If you want to open up your awareness and bring more consciousness in. Down to your heart, you're feeling constricted, you want to trust, you want to love. Your solar plexus, your seat of action and power. You want to activate that and feel it. Tap into these places with your breath. Each breath surrendering everything that no longer serves you. And with each inhale, activate your life's purpose. Activate your joy and your passion. How's your creative center, your sacral? Your womb space, your hara. This is the creation seat. Does that need to be activated? And your grounding force, your root, wherever you most need right now to just call into your body, so your body remembers, with your breath, supporting, releasing any tension of anything that you're holding that no longer serves you. And remembering our I am statements, I would love to hear the entire room repeat after me. I am loved.
I am loved.
I am empowered.
I am empowered.
I am liberated.
I am liberated.
I am free.
I am free.
I am grateful.
I am grateful.
I am humble.
I am humble.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am capable.
I am capable.
I am empowered by everything.
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 I am a unique gift.
I am a unique gift.
And I am interconnected to all life.
I am interconnected to all life.
I am a steward of everything I love.
I am a steward of everything I love.
And I am my own divine sovereign authority.
And I am my own divine sovereign authority.
I am my own divine sovereign authority.
I am my own divine sovereign authority.
am my own divine sovereign authority.
I am my own divine sovereign authority.
So take care of yourselves. Take care of your temple, of your vessel, of your body. Find your practice, the one thing every day that you can do that's devoted to feeling good and to feeling strong. Watch your I am statements and how you self-talk. Find people in your life that you can reveal your heart's song to. Let them sing it back to you when you forget. Believe in your vision and remember that there's nothing outside of you that will make any change. You are the only thing that can make that change towards what it is that you're empowered to move and create in the world. Before I go, I want to offer, again, Tribal Convergence Network is the organization that I founded and work with some amazing allies on. Tribalconvergence.com is our website. And we have an empowered leadership retreat that's coming up in a month. It's called Awaken. And the intention of this is to create solutions, pathways, to walk this talk that I'm speaking of, finding out how together we can find the answers. We don't have to have them. It's just time to find some answers together to making real grounded change in ourselves, in our communities, in our local regions, and then how can we connect with other places and other people to create pathways and share collective intelligence. How do we find the pathway together? It is happening on the West Coast first. And then other points of light, we will go out as ambassadors and emissaries, and we will support integration. But first, it happens here. And you are all a part of that. So be a part of it. Activate in your own community. Look up what we do. We have a lot of leadership training. We have a lot of models, open source models and templates, designs, and based on sacred geometry, how to be in council way, how to share leadership, how to move forward on the things that you want to see happen in your own community. We do a lot of training and support and consultancy to help people find their own leadership and make change in their own community. So again, Awaken is happening May 16th through 19th, and you can go to awakenthefuture.com and you can find out more about who we are and what we do in these events. We do these at least twice a year, and then we do local regional events as well with the flavor of celebration and joy and empowered, inspired solutions grounded on the earth, remembering our own divine sovereign authority. Thanks you guys so much. Yeah, thank you. Bless you. I love you. I love you.